Walaikum salam. Hello and welcome everyone. So we are here in the third day of ACCA SBL practice to pass session, and in today's class we'll be starting with the agenda for today. I have already shared the agenda, and again today we are also going to go through some of the past papers as well. Secondly, the most important thing is that in tomorrow's class, I'll be solving one complete paper in front of you, right? So I assume that each and everyone who is attending me live or face to face, I request you all to please be there in tomorrow's class. That is going to give you the maximum benefit that any single workshop can give. Because in that, you are going to identify the skills. We'll be discussing our questions, we'll be discussing our answers, but I'll be solving one complete past paper. So, tomorrow I'll be starting the workshop at 3 o'clock and we'll be ending this workshop till the time we have completed the past paper. Tomorrow is the last day for the SBL workshop, and that is prepare to pass workshop. Tomorrow's timing will be 3 onwards. It can go till 6 o'clock, it can go till 7 o'clock as well. But the timing will be from 3 onwards, right? Secondly, after that, we'll be moving towards the mock exam. So on Monday, I'll be sharing a mock exam with you, and that mock exam will not be the past paper. It will be an exam from some other source. So I assume that you are going to solve that past paper and give it to me. Now, you just need to wait for all the resources. After tomorrow onwards, we also have a revision strategy. I'll be sharing answer of all past papers, as much past papers as I can. And those answers are not drafted by the examiner himself, but these answers are drafted by me or some of my bright students. So I'll be sharing those answers of all past papers, not specifically all, most probably by for 90% of the past papers that are available. Now, after tomorrow, that is Monday onwards, I request everyone to solve at least one paper in exam condition for the next 10 to 13 days. Your paper is on 6th, right? 6th or 7th? 6th. This means you have 5 days for December, and Monday's date will be 29, 28. So we have 28, 29, 30, and 5 days. So you have 7 days. So even if you try solving 7 to 8 past papers, or you can do one more thing, that is solve one past paper in the morning and solve the next past paper in the evening. So you can easily solve 14 past paper. Trust me, if you're going to send me these past paper, I'll correct it. I'll make it as a priority to correct your past paper. I'll make it as a priority to correct your past paper. But please don't come blank after saying that, okay, or don't come right at the end of your examination, near to your examination. Sir, I have sent 14 past papers to you. Please correct them all. So I will not be correcting 14 past paper one day before the examination, because the time of examination one day before the examination is as crucial for you as it is crucial for me as well. So I will not be correcting 10 to 14 past paper on the day of your examination. However, if you are going to send me some good amount of past papers before your exam, 2 to 3 days before, trust me, I'll be solving it. And sorry, I'll be correcting it, and I'll be correcting it on priority basis. So please make sure that you do this. Number one. Number two, don't miss tomorrow's class at least, because this class is going to be the most effective one. We'll be solving one complete past paper. You'll be devising the methodology. I'll try to bring a past paper in which we have each and everything available. All types of professional marks are there. All types of formats are available. One request, I'll try to send the past paper by tonight, and the past paper that I'll be sending, I'm requesting that you kindly go through that past paper before tomorrow morning, because although I will read that past paper in front of you, but it will give you a better insight if you are coming well prepared into into the tomorrow's class. Number one. Number two. Okay, so today's class agenda. वालेकुम सलाम. बहुत शुक्रिया गिंजा आपका आने का. आखिरी दिन आ रही हैं. Okay, so we have the technical marks. Day 3 of the workshop includes some technical part. Case specific is the key. So we need to go through the case specific areas. You need to build an answer that is closer to the case. That is closer to the case study to fetch most of your marks. You need to build an answer that is closer to your case study. Secondly, you need to build an answer which relates to the case. And if you're not relating, for example, if you're not applying an appropriate model, you are losing marks. If you are applying an appropriate model, but in a generic sense, then again you are losing some marks. So you need to apply the model in the case that is being presented. Again, we have differences between the best answer and a good answer. The best answer will include a model where applicable. Good answer will include general understanding connected to the case in paragraphing format. The best part is if you are going to answer your question with along with the headings, you will get better marks. However, if you are not sure about the headings, don't try to mess up by using some, for example, by using some headings that are not appropriate. Yesterday, when I came across some of the questions, some of the answers, I suggested students not to write headings because they were not writing headings appropriately. However, if you are able, if you can justify that, okay, now this heading will include this specific material, then it will be a better situation or better, you will be in a better position to score some good marks. You need to build an answer closer to the case study and fetch most of your marks. Writing rote learn stuff is of no use. You don't need to write the rote learn stuff. You can use knowledge about the topic tested, but it should be adapted, modified, or changed in the context. For example, if the scenario says to apply change management model, to apply Boston consultative group, to apply any such model, make sure that you relate that model to the case study. If you're not relating that model to the case study, you are doing a blunder. Demonstration of technical knowledge or explanation of theory without application will not score marks in the examination. The more case you absorb in your answer, you will be more successful. So if you are absorbing more cases, you are going into more and more amount of success. Technical marks, how to gain them? To gain each technical marks, candidate need to make points that address the requirement of the question. You need to gain these technical marks if you are addressing the requirement of your question, number one. Number two, considering the scope of your answer required and what the question verb indicate should be provided. Now I will be sharing a handout in which ACCA have identified question verbs. I'll show you in front of the screens as well. Apply to the organization featured in the case study. You need to apply that model to the organization featured in the case study. So if you are not applying an appropriate model, or if you are not connecting that model to the case study that is being required, you are not gaining marks. Again, are specific to the decision or situation covered in the question requirement, and the model should be specific to the situation that is being covered in the requirement. So if you are applying a wrong model to a wrong situation, you are scoring a 0 marks despite the fact that you completed the entire answer. For example, the question was of Boston Consultative Group and you applied ANSOF growth model. This means you will score a 0. So make sure you are 100% sure while applying a model. Show the reader why the point is being made. See, that was something which was missing in yesterday's class. In many of the candidates' answer that I read, you were saying that, okay, this is the risk. What could have been the consequences? But you were not justifying the consequences. For example, because of a less amount of lights in the factory area, this could have resulted in accident. Now, okay, that is fine that this could have resulted in accident, but what will be the consequence of this accident? Again, you need to write that if such accidents occur, it will deteriorate our goodwill and will also create a unhealthy and an unsafe environment for our employees to work. It's not only the protesters who will be injured. It can go the other way around as well. We might also suffer. We as an employee might also suffer from the company's sluggish attitude. Then show the reader why the point is being made and significance of in these circumstances. Fetch up to 2 marks. Now, this is not from my side. This is coming from the examiner. Up to 2 marks were often available for a well-developed point. So now we are very clear that 2 marks are available for one well-developed. However, candidate are reminded that this will only occur when the candidate has successfully identified, very important point. You have successfully identified the relevant point. Risk is being identified in an appropriate manner. Many a times I find students, they say, okay, sir, there are 7 risks which are on the face of the exhibit. Let me find an 8th one, because everyone is writing those 7. I should write a very different answer, and let me find an 8th one. Don't try to be over smart. You all know the story of Wilson. If you try finding out some risk which are not actually associated with the company, and you might end up in writing a wrong answer. So please make sure that you identify the right point, number 1. Number 2, explain a relevant point and then correctly develop that point. So you need to identify the point, explain the point, and then correctly develop that specific point. If you are identifying it correctly but not developing that point in a correct manner, trust me, then you are not gaining these marks, or you are gaining half of them. Number 1. Number 2, specific December 2018 comment with example. This is the highlight question. Let me tell you what the examiner basically wanted you to see. Weaker candidates saw trigger word or syllabus topic such as integrated reporting and wrote all they knew about this topic. See, that was something included in the examination. Integrated reporting is a very technical jargon. Everyone who thought that, okay, the examiner wants to hear about integrated reporting, let me tell them, or let me tell the examiner everything that I know about integrated reporting. So these guys actually wrote all about 6 capital. These guys actually wrote all about SWOT analysis, all about pestle analysis. Everything was written about the integrated reporting. Why? Because the examiner wanted you to connect with the case study. However, you provided each and every stuff that you know about the integrated reporting topic. So again, you are doing a blunder and wrote all they knew about the topic without the application of the question's requirement or a highlight's own requirement. In addition, general remarks such as the business should undertake more detailed analysis. See, this is something which you guys are also doing. You're writing general remarks. Business should undertake more detailed analysis. Business should evaluate critically. Now, the examiner is asking you to write the evaluation, to showcase the evaluation skills, and you are concluding your remark. Okay, there are 2 proposals, proposal A and proposal B. However, the business should critically evaluate proposal A and proposal B. What the hell is this? This is not a conclusion. Or you are writing, okay, proposal A seems to be an appropriate one. However, proposal B is also an appropriate one. Now, business should decide which proposal to adopt. Then why the hell is the examiner asking you to provide a conclusion? Why the hell is the examiner asking you to showcase your evaluation skills? Because there is a stance in which we want you to take either the side of the pro or to say take the side of the con. Rather than saying that, okay, it's up to the company to decide whether they want to go for proposal A or they want to go for proposal B. However, my analysis in this regard is that they should take more detailed analysis about both these proposals. This is not an appropriate conclusion, and it's not going to gain you any sort of marks. Then insufficient to gain marks, as in question 1B, as this was just not specific enough for the needs of the finance director in progressing with the decisions of investment in comfy stay or not. You all must have gone through this. Similarly, let's look at with another example. Similarly, living in the technical framework unnecessarily as the basis for the organization as answer led many candidates enforcing their answer to fit the framework and crucially providing the answer that was not in a form helpful to the recipient. What you try to do, see, there is always a perception process. Many times, what candidates do is they find out a model and they try to fit in the model, even though that model is not being applied in that answer or that scenario. So, this is where you're doing wrong. You're trying to fit in the model. For example, if the company says that you need to have an external analysis, remember, external analysis is based on two different things. You need to be very much critical if the examiner is asking you to apply the pestle model or the examiner is asking you to apply the Potter 5 force model. It could have been other way around as well. For example, you thought that okay, the examiner wants me to apply the pestle model and it was actually the Potter 5 force model, but you started the question and now you don't want to remove. You are very well aware that okay, the examiner wanted me to write the Potter 5 force model, but I started off with pestle. So I should not remove each and everything and I'll answer my question by using this pestle model. You will be awarded 0 marks. See, you need to be very much critical. As I have told you before, it's not test of your knowledge. It's test of your nerves. How what can I say? How much in your senses are you when you are attempting your exam? That is the most important thing. You need to be in your senses while attempting this question. Right? Then it says, for example, in question number 1A, some candidate use a sort to structure the answer, which was not particularly useful framework, and as such presented information weakness in particular which was not useful for the recipient of the briefing note. See, sometimes there are hint words as well. You are writing to the competitor, and if you are giving sort analysis to the competitor, this means that you are sharing confidential information with the competitor. The examiner says write the environmental analysis by showcasing the stronger side of, and the weaker side of the company to the competitor. And let's suppose if you apply SWOT analysis and stating that okay, our weakness is that we are short of finance and we always ask for finance from different sort of resources, but whenever we get the financial resources, we get financial resources above interest rate as compared to the market one. This means that you are actually providing information to the competitor which should not have been provided. This is a confidential information. And if you are providing such an information to your competitors, you are actually weakening your own strengths. So you need to be very much awake at that specific point of time. Normally, what I used to do, although I don't suggest that strategy, what I used to do whenever I used to go for my examination, I tried having a bubble with me, because once you start doing something and your face is moving, so basically this gives you more amount or of concentration on your paper. But that is a strategy which basically worked with me. I'm not sure if it is going to work with you as well. However, you all are very well aware of your own personalities and of your own areas of strength, so you can work upon that. But please make sure that you are very very well awake at that specific point of time. Don't have too much amount of caffeine. Don't go with some don't have too much amount of water before going into your examination, because the metabolic system start working very fast when it is the examination sense, and you always need to go back and rushing towards the restrooms. Please don't do this because you are actually wasting your time. Then Azan, just a minute please. बीच में बता दो. Okay. Moving forward, for example, in question number 1A, did not explain clearly how the factors identified have been important to the success of Highlight in its home country. For example, merely stating that Highlight has invested in a website was insufficient to explain how this had impacted. You just keep on writing that, okay, Highlight has invested in developing a website, but how will it help the company to gain more and more amount of customers? How will the e-commerce be helping the company to get more and more customers in BCO? How will the investment in the let's suppose in some other country will help the customers in gaining more and more momentum? That is the point of question right now. And if you're going to justify your answer in that specific sense, you are making a very good statement and you are scoring some good marks in your exam. Technical marks feedback from the examiner's answer document for the strategic professional examination. It is not always possible to publish suggested answers which comprehensively cover all the valid point which candidate might make. Credit will be given to the candidate for point not included in the suggested answers. See, if you are writing an answer which is not included in the suggested answer and that is a correct one, you will be awarded with some marks and you will be awarded with some good marks because that is the point which even the examiner was not able to identify, but which nevertheless are relevant to the requirement. In addition, in this integrated case study examination, candidate may reintroduce points made in other questions or part of the question as long as they are made in a specific context of the requirement of the question being answered. It should be in the context of the question that is answered. The suggested answers presented in the model answer inevitably give much more detail. Now, this is something which is us giving you guys a soothing effect. So you guys always come up and ask me questions. So the suggested answer is so long, and you keep on saying that okay, you'll be awarded 2 marks for 1 valid point, but the suggested answer shows 12 valid points for a 12 mark of exam. So are we doing it correctly? See, this is an examiner's comment, not mine. The examiner himself is saying that suggested answers are way too much, inevitably give much more information that than that would be expected from most candidate under examination condition and include most of the obvious point evidence from the case information. This is something which I have extracted from the answers. This is not something that I have extracted from some own sources. This is something that I've extracted from the answer, and it's very evident that okay, you are requested. Even if you write, see, I always say in my regular classes that the answer that I'm presenting, it's 80, it's 120%. The answer that you are going to retain will be 80%, and the answer that you are going to present will be 60%, and you are going to clear this examination on 50%. So there is always a retention policy being made why the answers are being given in such great quantum, because at the end you need to get 50% marks. The answers are therefore intended to provide a structure of the approach requirement from the candidate and cover the range and depth of knowledge relating to each task which might be demonstrated by the most well prepared and able candidate. They are also intended to support revision and tuition for the future examination. So there he is saying that it will also help you in providing guideline. When you are reading the answers, you will have a basis of how to write the answer in future. And this answer is for future candidates, so that the candidates who are going to attempt the SBL examination in future, which is actually you guys, so you will be more than comfortable while reading these answers of examiner. Right. So let's move forward with the agenda for the day. Just give me a minute. I'm just sending the handout on my email address and then showing you. Okay, so let me show you the handout. Yes, Kunal, please. You can open your mic and ask me question.
Sir, good evening, sir. So actually
Yes,
मेरा
yes.
क्वेश्चन ये था कि लाइक कि today जैसे I was working on the LUM company question. Okay,
Hmm.
so in that there was a very generic question that like it asked about the कि what is the difference between unitary board and two-tier board. Okay, and then in second part of the question it asked how the LUM company LUM family will be facing issue to switch to the unitary board. Okay, so in the first part of the question, won't it be the generic answer that we will just simply differentiating it, that how they both are different? Or in that part also, do we need to connect with the LUM company?
क्या क्या कह रहे हैं?
सर LUM family business वाला क्वेश्चन है अपने पास.
Yes.
Yeah, उसमें there was a question like वो generic question था, like it asked कि what is the difference between unitary board and two-tier board,
Okay.
and explain how the LUM will be facing issue to while switching from two-tier board to unitary board.
Good. That is the question which I talked about in my classes as well.
So I wanted to know in the first part of the question, won't it be the generic answer that we will
Yes,
just
yes. Obviously, such a question that okay, define a two-tier board and define singular tier board, or what do you mean by how to differentiate between two-tier and singular tier board? That is a generic question. It's something which is very obvious. You can't relate it to LUM company in any way. But the
okay,
second
okay,
part should be done in a
yeah.
manner in which you can, you'll be relating to the LUM company's part. So
Hmm.
yes, you'll be writing a general answer if you are being asked that differentiate between the LUM company board. Yes.
Sure, sure, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so let's move forward. Sorry, the date is actually wrong over here. It's not September 2021, it's December 2022. So just ignore that. Day-wise plan, it says the exam techniques that we are going to go through, number of point and length of your answer, SFA, again, one of most important topics. Sort and toes model. We'll be going for the introduction of sort and toes, financial projection, financial ratios. We have the BCO company. We have March June 2009 examiners report. Um, WhatsApp group. You all must be aware of these WhatsApp group. There are 4 to 5 WhatsApp groups that we are right now working upon, and there is a huge quantity of people. I'm sharing the recordings of this class as well, so all those who have missed, you can go through the recordings. SBL tip, number of point and length of your answer. You all know there are 2 types of marks for each question, technical and professional marks. So total marks is equal to technical plus professional one. Generally, 1 point will carry 2 marks. Hence, divide the total marks by 2 to calculate the number of points. So if the total marks are 8, then you'll be how many points will you write? You'll be writing 4 points. If the total marks are 15, how many points will you be writing? You'll be writing 8 points, not 7. You'll be writing 8 points. So that is the reason why I wrote 15 marks. Exception: if the question requires you to identify weakness and give recommendation, this means 2 columnar format. So you will be awarded with 3 marks. And identify risk and give recommendation, then it will be worth 4 marks. So you'll need to divide it with 4 marks in order to define or identify the number of marks. Maximum length of your paragraph, just make sure that your point paragraph is not too short and not too long. Say minimum 3, maximum 6 line. Don't go beyond 6, but again, I don't think so you'll be able to write 1 point in 6 lines, but don't make it less than 3 lines for one specific point. Today's skills that we are going to go through, it will be the skepticism and analysis skills. Now, what do you mean by skepticism? Skepticism means that we need to have a questioning mind. For example, majority of risk question will include the skepticism skills. Now, in skepticism, what you are going to do, you are going to write that, okay, it seems that the organization is not performing well in terms of the internal controls, and the let's suppose it says that CEO of the company is right now out of city, and he thinks that the goodwill deterioration impact that right now took place in our company, for example, the accident that took place in our company and is of great hype for the media, is not to be answered at all, and we should just be quiet. So you can use the skepticism skills by saying that is the attitude of CEO right in this regard, as if we are not going to provide any stance from the company's point of view, we might end up being into a situation where people are questioning our integrity in this regard. So you need to have a questioning mind and a questioning tone. Even you can use the question words, but please make sure that you're using the question words with very much amount of what I can say, with having a very good sense of communicating your questioning sense to the answer. We'll be solving one of the question and you'll get an idea of how to write this. Formats will be report, SFA model. Now, I guess this is the last time I'm going to go through the SFA model, and I feel like, okay, this is the time when you're going to be very much relevantly imparting this information within your mind to evaluate the proposed strategy. However, in exam, you should only use when we plan to acquire another company, either in the same country or in another company. Is it clear? Okay. Example, evaluate a proposal of acquiring ABC company situated in XYZ country. Evaluate an option of opening a new restaurant in another city. Evaluate the proposal of adding a new product line to the existing product. Focus on external factors. Suitability. Now, I have tried as much as possible to make it understandable for you all. What are you going to write in suitability? If you are being asked with 3 paragraphs, or you are writing 3 points in suitability, 3 points in feasibility, or 3 points in acceptability. Let's suppose it says suitability is going to focus on external factors. Now, what do you mean by external factors? First paragraph will be of home country. This means what went wrong in my home country, for the reason of which I am deciding or I am evaluating the proposal of moving into another country. Again, what went wrong in our country? For example, we are operating in country XYZ where legislation are not allowing us to move on with the private status of the country. Plus, there are some issues relating to the distribution and retail centers within country. The legal and policies relating to the political system in our industry are now being stringent and they are now being strict, for the reason of which the home country, the movement from home country to another country seems to be a viable option. If they are expanding, then we'll talk about the home country's strength, that what strengths do we have right now, and then we'll talk about, okay, if we go for this expenditure process, if we go for this expansion process, we might end up having good results because we are already expert in this. Then you'll talk about the target country or the target company, and then the target company. So you'll talk about the target company. For example, we are facing the issue of having more and more amount of taxation on us, or the percentage of tax is very high right now in home country. So we can go to country PQR where the percentage of tax is less. And if we operate or if we acquire that specific company in country PQR, that company already is in tax heaven zone. So we'll be providing 0% tax for next 2 years. Let's suppose if the scenario states in this way. So firstly, what went wrong in home country? What seems to be well in the acquiring country? And what benefit can we gain from the acquiring company? This is what you are going to write in suitability. Moving further, feasibility focuses on internal factors. Internal factors, first paragraph, human resource and expertise. First paragraph, human resource and expertise. Do we have acquisition experience from the past? Do we have experience of managing similar businesses? All this is written. I have given you this handout. Do we have this experience? Do we have experience of working in the overseas country? This is the first paragraph in terms of human resources and in terms of expertise that we have. Number one. Number two, financial resources. Do we have funds to acquire another company? This means If you are acquiring another company, then financial data should be evaluated in which heading? In feasibility or acceptability? In feasibility or acceptability? If we are acquiring another company, the financial data should be evaluated in acceptability. Acceptability, review the financial projection of the target company. However, if you are not acquiring another country, not acquiring another company, and you are going for the expansionary policy, what you are going to do? You are going to talk about the financial data in feasibility. Right? Is it correct? Okay. Financial resources. Okay. I'm repeating. Financial resources. Do we have funds to acquire another company? Look at gearing ratio. Do we have funds of acquiring another company? Do we have those funds available with us? Do we have that amount of resources available with us? We will talk about our company's financial resources. Do we have that fund? Do we have sources of funds to acquire another company? But if I talk about the acceptability option, first let's see the acceptability, then we are going to connect it back to the feasibility option. It focuses on financials of targeted company. See, I'm acquiring another company. Is it acceptable for the shareholder to acquire a company whose profitability is right now deteriorating? So we will go with the ratio analysis of targeted company. For example, return on investment of this company. For example, return on capital employed of this company. For example, earning per share of this company. For example, asset test ratio of this company. For example, profit margin of this company. For example, profit markup of this company, so on and so forth. If I am acquiring this company, I need to make the financial analysis of this company and present it in front of the shareholder under the heading of acceptability. However, if I'm going for if I'm going for organic growth, this means that I have one company and I'm moving towards the expansionary policy of having another company in the same industry. For example, restaurant A of SBH and restaurant B of SBH. Now, do I have that potential available in my existing company? For example, if my existing company is suffering losses, if my existing company is right now in a deteriorating situation, I will not even consider of getting into organic growth. I'll not even consider of getting into, I'll just be trying to make this company survive. However, if I want to go for organic growth, I need to justify my shareholders. Is it feasible to go for organic growth? Does it seem that okay, this company right now, restaurant A is giving us a huge amount of profit, and if we go with restaurant B, we'll be having same amount of profitability again? Do we have the ratio? Do we have return on investment on our restaurant A? So if we go with restaurant B, it will give us the same amount of return on investment. Do we have good gearing ratio right now? So if we go for B, we'll be having the same gearing ratio for B as well. So if you are evaluating the organic growth of company that is from going from restaurant A into restaurant B, you will be solving this under feasibility heading. Is it feasible to do this? And if you are acquiring another company's asset or the entire company, then you are going to write the financial data under the heading of acceptability. Yes. Yes. True. We'll talk about acceptability once we go through the parameter of feasibility. If we are not, if we say no on feasibility, then we'll not be talking about the acceptability. Is it clear? So now I guess I made it very clear. I cannot, move forward. Sir, if question is of organic growth, we'll end answer on feasibility. If we talk about the inorganic growth, we'll talk about the we'll not talk about feasibility. No. If again, Let's just figure it out. We need to be very much clear on this. We will be going with headings of all. We'll be going with the headings of all. Your hand. Yeah, the lights on. See, I'm trying to clarify as soon as possible. Organic growth, right? Acquired growth, suitability, feasibility, acceptability. Suitability, feasibility, and acceptability. Now, what are we going to write in suitability? Yes, can anyone please let me know? What went wrong? Same if we are going for acquisition strategy. Same if we are going for acquisition strategy. What went wrong? Right? First paragraph. Second paragraph. If we are going for acquisition strategy, what are the condition of acquiring country? Second paragraph, first paragraph. And third paragraph, what are the condition of acquiring company? Second paragraph. If we go for organic growth, is the organic growth providing us solution for above problem? Is it clear? There is something which went wrong. So we'll just that specific point. What went wrong? It is organic growth. We will write is growing organically giving us a momentum of solving this problem? Yes or no? If it is an acquisition strategy, what is something that makes the acquiring country better or competitively advantageous? And what is something that makes the acquiring company better and competitively advantageous? It can include our history of going for acquisition. It seems that the working methodology of the acquiring country and company is also the same as of the our country and company. So this is what you are going to write in suitability option. Is it clear, everyone? Okay. Now let's talk about feasibility. If it is the ratio analysis, or financial analysis of acquiring company, we will write this in acceptability. If it is the ratio analysis or financial analysis of organic company, organic growth, we will write in feasibility. Is it clear? Now over here, what are we going to write in feasibility acquisition, and what are we in acceptable organic growth? Now listen. If it is feasibility, we will write about internal strength. If it is the acquisition company, if you are acquiring, what we'll start with the problem. We'll start if this solution of acquisition is providing a viewpoint on this problem. Then we'll talk about feasibility. That is, do we have internal resources? Is it possible to mobile our labor from one place to another? Is it possible to take our machinery from one place to another country? Is it possible to, or do we have resources over there? Do we have that internal capability? But not the financial one. We'll be talking about the financial one in our last paragraph, that is the acceptability option. However, so what are we going to write in if it is the organic growth? What are we going to write in the acceptability option? You can even write the technical or the IT related solution if it is available in the scenario. You can even write the IT solution over here if it is available in the scenario, right? What are we going to write in the acceptability option? We will be writing in organic growth. Let's suppose if we are going for the organic growth, the financial data of organic growth we'll be writing in the acceptability option. How in the organic growth, what we are going to do, we are going to review the strength and weakness plus unique, tangible or intangible asset. Is it clear? So let's just conclude the entire topic. I started off with SFA. First, let's go with the organic one. I'm going with the organic growth. Organic is what went wrong, and how can the organic growth help us in finding the solution? We'll be writing this in suitable. In feasibility, we'll be going for the financial data of current company. And in acceptability, we'll be writing about strength, weakness, and unique, tangible or intangible asset that we have. However, if we are going for the acquisition growth, what went wrong? How will the acquiring country help us? How will the acquiring company help us? We'll be writing in suitability option. Then if we talk about feasibility option, what are our internal strength and what do we mean by IT? So this means that internal strength we'll be writing in feasibility option if it is for the acquisition one, and financial data in the acceptability. Is it clear to everyone? I guess now it should be very much clear. Even though if you don't remember, same, you can still make 3 different paragraphs and stating your answers in paragraphing. Sir, what falls under the term conditions? Sorry, under the term conditions. I didn't get your question, please. What are the condition of what are the condition of acquiring country? So why are we going for such an acquisition? Let's suppose the acquiring country is lenient in terms of legal regulation. The acquiring country is lenient in terms of documentation. The acquiring is lenient in terms of having starting of new entrepreneurs. It is they are providing us with financial resources. So there can be different factors that talk about the country strength, which we will, if we get those strengths, we'll be in a better position to materialize them in between. Is it clear? Do you guys want to copy this or should we move forward? मर्जी है, confusing नहीं Yes, I've just given you time for copying. Can you please copy and then I'm resuming. Don't, make it wrong. Just try write. If you don't understand what SFA is, you can try writing it in the format of financial and non-financial heading. Is it clear? Okay. So let's just move forward quickly. Yeah. एक एक ग्रुप पे भी भेज दो. Okay. No, I was just talking to the students in front of me, Kunal. Nothing important. Focus on the internal factors. Now, what feasibility focus on the internal factors? Do we have the acquisition experience from the past? Do we have the experience of managing this similar business? Do we have experience of working in an overseas country? These are all the factors that are going to contribute in the feasibility option. Now, what about the financial resources? Do we have funds to acquire another country? And look at the gearing ratio. Uh, right. And also the technological and brand image will be dealt in the paragraph number 3. Acceptability focus on financial of targeted company. So if we are talking about the target company, we can talk about targeted company in the acceptability option. Paragraph number 1 says, will shareholder accept the proposed strategy? If a family owned or a private company by the owners, then acceptable. If listed company, then shareholders will accept if it has a positive or a reasonable NPV. So this means ratios. If the target company is based on another country, then we have to consider the cultural differences as well. So you can also write about the cultural differences in this paragraph. If the target country, company is based in another country, and review the financial projection and analysis. Conclusion required. Avoid conclusion if the question does not specifically ask you to provide conclusion. However, you can make a concluding paragraph, but without heading. Avoid conclusion, but if you make a concluding paragraph in evaluation question, it will look good, but don't write heading. If the question specifically say to please have a conclusion as well, then you need to make heading and then give your conclusion in a very well defined manner. If you feel SFA is getting complicated in the exam, it's not compulsory to use SFA. You can also use a general approach. Make sure you cover the following aspects of the proposal: external factors, pros and cons. Again, you have a very good approach. Internal factors, pros and cons, and financial analysis. Talk about your internal strength and weaknesses. Talk about the acquiring country's strength and weaknesses, and then talk about the financial data and analysis. If you can justify the answer as well. SWOT analysis, strength and weakness are internal. Remember, the first two word of SWOT is internal. Second two word of SWOT is external. Now, many a times I have seen questions by examiners stating that in SWOT analysis, just provide the internal analysis of the company. Just provide the external analysis of the company. Now, if the examiner says to provide internal analysis, don't apply model in full. Then you just need to let the examiner know about the strength and weaknesses. If the examiner says that provide the analysis on external factors, then don't apply the model in full. You just need to write about the opportunities and threat in the analysis. For example, why do we use SWOT analysis? Actually, SWOT is a tool. We will be using the TOES model: strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. Strength and opportunity. Use your strength to avail opportunity. For example, we have a good IT system. Use it to develop a website where you can have new customers on the website, and you'll be tapping in with the e-market of your business. Weakness and opportunity. Remove the weakness to avail opportunity. You do not have an IT expert in your company, and the customers are not being replied within the stipulated time period on their complaints. So hire an IT expert who will be helping in strengthening your business abilities and capabilities. ST, strength and threat. Use your strength to avoid and counter threat. You have a very well developed brand image. There are new competitors entering into the market. If you develop that brand, if you make that brand image go good into your organization, what you can do, you can remove the threats and avail those strengths. And weakness and threat. Remove your weakness to avoid threat. You do not have an in-house IT expert. You do not go for insurance policy of your material. You do not provide customer after sales service. Provide customer after sales services. This is a weakness. And if you are removing this, what you'll end up in removing your or eliminating your threats. I can give you a very practical example. We were providing report on our steel sector to the company, to our customers. However, that report did not constituted valuable amount of contribution to the customers or company success. So what we decided to do is we discontinued that report, and we decided to give gifts or giveaways to every customer who is going to buy around products of around 3 million. And that was something which gave us a competitive advantage as compared to the. So remove your weaknesses and provide to eliminate threats that are prevailing within your industry. But that will be very much industry specific. How will you know if TOES model is required? Now, this is an important question. A SWOT analysis will be given. So first indicator. If in the paper you are being given with SWOT analysis, remember, and the company says to, you will be required to do a SWOT analysis first. You might be given with a SWOT analysis. There's an examination scenario in which you have been given with the SWOT analysis, and the company says that evaluate the above given option and apply an appropriate model. This means now you need to apply TOES model. Or the question in part A says make a SWOT analysis, and then it says that after making the SWOT analysis, apply an appropriate model and make it viable for the company or make it justifiable for the company. So what you'll do, you will apply the TOES model in that scenario as well. Just go through the list of strengths and weaknesses and opportunities that are available and link them. So it might also say that these are the list of strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats that are available. What you need to do, you need to link them with your answer in order to get the bestest possible result. Then it says financial projection. If financial projection is given, so there can be situation where financial projections are given in regarding a proposed investment, then you must check and mention the following. See, there can be circumstances where the examiner says that an inexperienced accountant have made some financial projections of the company, and these financial projections does not seems to be viable. Now, once you start seeing these financial projections, then what are the parameters on the basis of which these financial projections does not seem to be viable? So these are some of the parameters on the basis of which you can evaluate if the financial projections are viable or not. You need to check 5 things on these financial projections. Number 1, if the examiner has provided you a cash flow statement, justify your answer by saying that this cash flow statement should have been discounted, because just providing cash flow statement for next 5 years will not give you good end result. It will not be inflation adjusted, and it is not presenting you the real depiction of the company's situation. So projection should be based on discounted cash flows using a sensible discount rate, that is discount rate based on the inflation rate. If the examiner has provided you a simple payback, so there can be a situation where the examiner says that an inexperienced accountant have made the financial projection, and you are requested to justify if this financial projection can lead to good results or not. So it says calculate simple payback period by using discounted cash flow. Number 3, Review assumption for any apparent stupidity. Now, what are these assumptions? And mention in your answer that the adequacy of the assumption needs to be revalidated. There can be other form of stupidity given in the examination. For example, the fixed cost remains same, irrespective of the fact that the sales revenue is increasing, the production is increasing, however, the fixed cost is same. So how the hell is it possible? It says that the variable cost per unit remains the same irrespective of the fact that you produce the first unit or you produce 10,000 unit or you produce 100,000 unit. There is a concept of step fixed cost. There is a concept of variable cost. How can the variable cost remain same? It says that overall inflation rate of the country is 10%. However, we are getting raw material on the same rate for the next 5 years. And we do not have any specific forward contracts as well. So this means that there is a stupidity being done in the examination scenario or the given scenario. Mention in your answer that tax implication need to be considered. There may be possibility that they are not taking into account the tax implication, and mention in your answer that sensitivity analysis should be done. We are going for the successful strategy. The financial projection just shows that okay, in year number 1, and that is the anticipated figure. We have not yet started our business, but we are about to start the business. An inexperienced accountant have made the analysis for next 5 years. Each year, the assumption shows 20,000 $20,000 success in first year, $40,000 profit in second, and so on and so forth. The profit is increasing with the same amount of same percentage. How is it possible? Plus, you are taking into account the sales on the basis of 100% success. Why can't it be on the other way around? What are the chances of company's product failing? There might be some chances. There might be 20% chances. There might be 30% chances. So are you taking into account what if we go into failure? How much amount of revenue will we be earning if we go into failure? How much amount of revenue will we be earning if we go into success? And we'll be calculating that specific amount of revenue and including in our analysis. So this can be the financial projections given. Now we have the report format to form from. We have conclusion or recommendation not required until specifically asked in the question. You want to introduce, you can introduce it in your own words as well. Ask question or challenge someone's view on opinion with facts and figures in order to present the complete issue or picture or issue. For example, hint, adopt a questioning tone in your answer. Use word like I disagree, it seems incorrect, it's not clear, should be further investigated. Do you find these words when you are writing your answer? You need to use these words in your answers as well. Uh, Examination question number 2. It says SBL March June 2019. Have I given you smartware question right now? Have I given you smartware question? यार एक लाइट ऑन कर, एक ऑन कर, बस सही है. Yes. Do you all have that smartware question? Okay. So the question is of question 4B. Read exhibit 7 only. Do you all have smartware question? Please let me know. Everyone right now have smartware question in front of them. Let me just open it for you. You guys can quickly download this question. Just write smartware SBL and you'll be able to download this question from Google. We need to solve question number 4B. Yes, we need to solve question number 4B. Just read the background information. I'm reading question number 4B. It relates to one-on-one exhibit. Recently commissioned market research has concluded that smartware appears to have no clear understanding of the profile of its customer mix, and as a result operate quite unsophisticatedly in ineffective marketing campaign. Recent financial results indicate that Smartware is finding it hard to both retain and get repeat business from existing customers, and the company is clearly losing market share to both established competition and newer e-retailers. The sales and marketing director has been considering the development and implementation of a sophisticated customer database management system, incorporating incorporating a customer's loyalty scheme to replace the existing very basic customer database. The marketing department has undertaken a financial appraisal of this proposal to supplement the market research finding, and this indicates that it is financially viable in net present value terms. You have advised the sales and marketing director that for the board to agree to the proposal, a clearly stated business case and more reliable evaluation on the financial viability of the project need to be done. She agreed and asked you to help her in this regard. So you are going to go with the financial projection right now. We are evaluating 4B. Evaluate the marketing department NPV analysis that support the CDMS investment questioning any underlining assumption. So what you need to do, you need to evaluate the strategy and you need to have an underlining assumption. Professional skill marks are available for displaying skepticism about the cash flow forecast used to support the proposal. There are 10 plus to 12 marks. You need to have 6 well-developed point. Your point will include the justification as to why you consider the figure to be wrong, and your point will include justification as to how the figure seems to be wrong and it will not be supporting, or it will be supporting the NPV analysis that is already being done. So let's just quickly move towards the exhibit number 7. You all can download if you want. Exhibit 6, sorry. Okay, I'm just showing this exhibit in front of you. Just have a quick look and let me know what seems to be wrong in this exhibit. Yes, please. Investment. Investment in this is 38 million. There's no issue in that. Operating cost is 2 million for all 5 years. Now, if we say that operating cost is 2 million for all 5 years, this means that this operating cost seems that the operating cost should not be same, because if we talk about the initial capital outlay, then we have the additional contribution. It is also the same. In interest payable on loan is also same. Net cash flow, again same. Corporation tax, obviously if the profit net cash flow is same, so the corporation tax will also be the same. Post tax net cash flow also seems to be same. Discount factor, okay. Net present value and net present value. Total investment comprises of initial outlay, sales tax on the purchase price recoverable through NORIA tax authority, installation and system testing, staff training on CDMS, and 5 years maintenance and support contract with the supplier. So total capital outlay includes this. It is estimated that CDSM will directly generate additional contribution from new and retained customer. A new 38 million loan will be taken out of finance, which will have an interest payable. The smart way weighted average cost of capital as 10% is used as a project for discount factor. So do you find any sort of issue in this? Okay, this is one of the issue. Any other issue? 5 years maintenance contract. Yes. Tax rate is not changing. Rate of interest, interest on loan. Yes, please. Any other? Assumptions of fact, yes. Any other possibility? Hmm? Yes, basis of investment amount is not given. Yes, any other? Should I show you my answer first as to what headings I have used, and then I would want that you can draft it, or should I give you an time period to write your answer first and then show mine? Yes, please. Should I show you my answer first? हाँ, लिख लेंगे मतलब with the basis of what I have written, and then you can write. हाँ हम्म बताएं. Yeah, I'm just trying to test your confidence level right now. That if you guys are saying that okay, please show us the answer, I guess then this means that you guys are not confident right now, and this means a deteriorating situation. So I just want you all to please write your answer and then expect me to show you my written answer. Please don't make me feel go into discomfort that okay, you guys want me to show you my answer and then you can start writing, because I'll not be available in the real examination scenario. So please do it yourself. I'm just showing you the basis to write this answer. And it's just a pointer. So you need to elaborate this pointer, right? I hope so. You all must have gone through this. Explain. Dictate करते रहो. Okay, so the first pointer relates to the initial capital outlay, right? I'm just dictating a point. Initial investment of 38 million. What is the basis of initial capital outlay? Is it based on tender or quotation? What is the basis of initial capital outlay? How can you justify this initial capital outlay? Is it based on the tender or quotation? Number one. Number two, sales tax recovery not included in the inflow of later years. Anyone was able to identify this point? They have included in the initial capital outlay, not included in the inflow in the later year. Sales tax recovery, we do not get sales tax recovery only in the day or when we are investing. We get sales tax recovery in year after as well. So this is the second point. Third point, 5 years maintenance cost shown in year zero instead of being shown in respective years. In respective, the maintenance cost should have been distributed in the respective years, because maintenance costs in the first year and maintenance costs at the last year will be different. So how can you show the 5 years maintenance cost in initial capital outlay? Additional contribution of 22 million. What is the basis of this amount? Then why this amount is constant, fixed throughout 5 years rather than being incremental? Then why is operating cost fixed throughout 5 years despite 7% inflation in the economy? This was a very obvious point. Then why is interest payable on loan fixed throughout 5 years in interest instead of reducing due to principal repayment installment? Why is the amount same? See, the percentage will be the same, but amount is applied on the remaining principal and not on the principal that was at the start of the point. So you need to consider all these points while writing an answer. I'm just expecting that you are going to write this specific answer. Why trading cost is included in the initial capital outlay? And yes, 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 very true. Very true. Okay, so let's discuss the pointers that I've shown. The initial capital outlay. Um what is the basis of initial capital outlay? Is it based on tender or quotation? So do we have any tender in regard with the initial capital outlay? Are we given with some quotation by the specific supplier of such a model? So do we have any basis on the basis of which we have taken this decision? Sales tax recovery is not included as inflow in the later year. So you have not included the sales tax recovery in the year after. Okay, now these are the points that even if you have not taken into account, there are still ample amount of other points available for on the basis of which you can justify your answer. 5 year maintenance cost shown in year zero instead of being shown in the respective years. So how the hell is it possible that the maintenance cost is applied right when the construction process was taken into account? It should have been divided. It's a recurring cost. It's a cost that really, even the staff training cost is a recurring cost. So it should have been included in the years after the initial capital outlay year. Additional contribution of 22 million. What are the basis of this amount? How do we get this 22 million? Where are we getting this 22 million from? And why have we included this additional contribution of 22 million? So there's no proper segregation given in regard with this 22 million. Why is the amount constant, fixed throughout the 5 years rather than being incremental? Why can't the contribution increase? Why is it the case that contribution is not increasing? Why is the operating cost fixed throughout? See, you can use why word when justifying your answer. So what you'll do, it will go the other way around. You will say that the fixed cost is remaining same throughout the next 5 years, despite the fact that there have been an inflation evident from the case of smartware in the economy, which relates to 7% during the years. Now, what are the bases on the basis of which this assumption have been taken of fixed operating costs throughout the next 5 years? So this is how you're going to ask questions when you are showcasing the skeptic. I guess this question relate to skepticism skill, right? So this is how you are going to question, or you'll be having a questioning tone during this. Can we say the 22 would have been increased as the number of years of implementation of the system? 22 would have been increased. You will not be saying that 22 million is increasing or it should have decreased. You will just be asking for the basis on the basis of which you are creating this assumption of 22 million. Why is the operating cost fixed for the next 5 years? Why is the interest rate on the loan payable? So how you are going to answer or how you are going to develop this specific point is that smart sorry smartware seems to be financed through loan investment. Now, the loan provider who has provided the investment to smartware is providing 5 years of loan. In accordance with the loan arrangement, it is normally seen that as the payment being done by the company on annum basis reduces the principal amount. However, in this above given smartware scenario, it seems that the interest amount remains fixed despite, yeah, after every year some amount of principal must be paid. So what is the basis of this agreement that is being shown by the smartware company? So this is a very well developed point. Now, if I talk about, let's suppose, let me draft another pointer for you all. Uh, okay. Sales tax recovery. You can even add the point of the staff training cost. What was the amount of staff training cost given in this scenario? No. So what is the amount that is included? Have they given any bifurcation? Okay. So you can write in the initial capital outlay shown in year zero for the smartware CDMS system. It includes staff training cost. However, the staff training cost that is being shown in year zero does not reflect the actual cost because this itself is a recurring expenditure to be applied on annum per annum basis. Along with this, the staff training cost taken into account in year zero is also not inflation adjusted, because the staff who are going to be trained in year five will not be applying the same cost as the staff who will be trained on day one. So this cost is not being inflation adjusted as well. The staff training cost should have been inflation adjusted. Along with this, it should have been shown in the next 5 years. So this is how you're going to devise a very well developed point. Yes. Hmm. Just a minute, sir. Should interest on loan from? Yes, you can unmute yourself and ask me questions.
Sir, I'm saying that discount rate is 10%. So can't we ask a question that why it is 10%, or is it reflecting the actual expectation of
Yes,
the
yes,
shareholders?
yes. You can even ask a question that, okay, the discount rate is 10%. So what are the basis of having this discount rate 10%? Is it included? Is it inclusive of the inflation that reflects the market judgment? But uh, it will be a very weak point. Why? Because the inflation rate is 7% and the discount rate is 10%. So it seems justifiable that the discount rate is appropriate, and it does not have. I don't think so that there's something to be questioned about it, because
Sir,
7% of the inflation rate and 10% of the discount rate seems to be justifiable. Yes.
just one thing, as the interest or loan of interest on the loan
Sorry,
is
Kunal, can you
8%.
please repeat?
So I'm saying as the interest rate on the loan is 8%. So is it viable to say that the overall cost of capital will be the 10%? Is it reflecting that exact that 8% impact has been taken into it or not?
So, is it
So
justifiable
I
to
mean,
say that 8% is reflecting in 10% or not? Is that your
y-
question?
yes, yes, sir, yes.
Yes, yes, you can write this. Yes, you can write this.
And
Yes,
one
please.
more thing in the contribution part, that 22 million one, can we write that it should change because the number of years of implementation of system has changed, and with the time being the you will be gaining the expertise in that, so it would have been changed rather than the static amount. Hello,
Yes, Kunal, can you please talk bit loudly? I cannot
सर
understand what you are saying.
सर मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि लाइक जो 22 मिलियन का कंट्रीब्यूशन अमाउंट है, क्या हम इसमें ये चीज कह सकते हैं कि लाइक नंबर ऑफ ईयर ऑफ इम्प्लीमेंटेशन जो है, जो सिस्टम हम इम्प्लीमेंट कर रहे हैं, वो इंक्रीज हो जाएंगे, उसके अकॉर्डिंगली हमारे पास एक्सपर्टीज आएगी, तो इट वुड हैव बीन चेंज रादर देन बीइंग स्टैटिक.
Yes, you can say it. You will not be using the word expertise. You will be using the word multiplier effect, or you'll be using the word economies of scale. With the
ओके.
passage of time, we will be going into economies of scale. So that actually relates to the operational cost. The operational cost is going to be reduced, and the economies of scale will help us in having a multiplier effect and reducing the cost to the lowest possible side. Yes.
Mhm, mhm. And for the capital expenditure part, for the initial outlay, for the training one, the point that it should not be included in the initial outlay or as a capital expenditure because it is the revenue in nature. Hello.
Kunal, just a minute. Let me get a question from the student sitting in front, and then I'll get
Sure,
back to
sure,
you,
sir.
because I guess there's some audibility issue. Just a minute.
Sure, sir.
Yes, yes, Ahmed. Do you have a question? Yes, Ahmed. Do you have a question? Uh, you have mentioned your question. Acha, just let me go through it. Interest payable on loan is already. I have. Sir, wouldn't Smartware get some financial subsidies or incentive जिस पर कोई allowance claim हो सकता है in terms of tax? Can we question this assumption in our answer? It is a very vague assumption, and I don't think so it will be a good assumption. But yes, if you want, if you can't find any other point, you can again ask this assumption. Deduct interest on loan again in NPV computation. Yes, yes, you will be deducting interest on loan. Uh, so Ahmed, can you please rewrite your question because I can't find your question. Can you please rewrite it again, or just copy paste from the requirement and rewrite it? So the way this answer is documented, can we write in the seven? No, no. The way that I've just written some of the pointers, you need to write a full-fledged answer. Yes. Say, say. बोल कैसे इन्वेस्टमेंट में तो जाएंगी yes but you will we will not be capitalizing it yes. Ahmed, can you please rewrite or copy paste the question that you have asked so that we can move forward, please? Okay. Till the time Ahmed is writing, so let's move forward and let's go with the remaining part. I guess it's now clear to every one of you. So we can move forward now. Interest payable on loan is already being a part of the WEC. The using of WEC to discount the cash flow is inappropriate. Yes, you can say. Yes, you can include this. You can include this point. नहीं 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 नहीं, इसमें भी एक finance खत्म हो जाएगा फिर break. Okay, so let's move forward. Let's move forward. Then I'll give you a break as well. I know you are waiting for the break. Report format, and then we have skepticism. We have gone through the financial projection. So let's go. These are the formats that are shown in front of you. Briefing note, presentation slide, letter format, press release format, business case, and project initiation document. So you can go through this format, these formats afterwards. I have also defined the professional skill marks in front of you in this handout, so you can have a quick look at these professional skill marks as well. Now we are left with some of the last remaining part of today's class. I'm giving you a break of around 10 minutes. Yes, yes, I'm giving you a break of around 10 minutes. And just quickly go and have a break of 10 minutes, and then we are moving forward with the remaining part. Okay, so let's resume. Let's resume our class. It says, so I made a YouTube channel on which I have uploaded some of the recordings. These are the last part of today's class. You can go through the YouTube channel. It is with the name of Sir Sheikh Bilal Haque. Financial ratios, make sure that you revise these financial ratios, which include P&L ratio, sales trend ratio, gross profit margin ratio, net profit margin ratio, and return on capital employed ratio. We have balance sheet ratio, current asset, quick ratio, and interest cover. Then we have efficiency ratio as well. And there was a question historically in which efficiency ratio was tested, and it included revenue per employee. So you can have a testability on this ratio. Net present value, accounting rate of return, internal rate of return, and discounted cash flows. I have already shared a handout on regarding the rate of return and ratios, so you can go through that handout specifically. Question number one: evaluate the proposed strategy related to the investment using the given ratio alert. No need to use calculation on spreadsheet. Just use the giving data onto the word response section. You can just use the given data onto the word response section and highlight, okay, 60% ratio of return on capital employed, 40% return on equity, let's suppose 10% return on investment, and you can move forward. This is not a financial paper. This is a paper that relates to the theoretical part. Then question number two: using appropriate investment appraisal technique, evaluate with the help of financial data given which proposed strategy shall be adopted. Alert: no use of financial data. Calculate whenever there are two proposed strategies given to you. What you can do, you can have a very safe side by calculating NPV if the discount rate is given, IRR, ARR, discounted cash flow in spreadsheet to give your answer. So you will be using spreadsheet. I guess in the morning someone asked me this question. Sir, will we be using the spreadsheet? I guess any one of you आपने पूछा था. Okay. So yes, we'll be using spreadsheet, but when once we are calculating NPV, IRR, ARR, or discounted cash flow, they might ask you to calculate this. So it's very easy. You know how discount factors apply. You know the formula of calculating NPV, 1 plus I की power minus n. Um, Yes, you can use the spreadsheet, but don't overburden yourself by using the financial data again and again in something which is very similar. For example, if you are solving a plus question or a minus deduct question, or maybe a bottomless rule has been applied, you can apply it directly on worksheet rather than going on to the spreadsheet and referring to the working. Define ratio in detail from denominator to numerator. When the ratios are given, you need to define it from denominator to numerator. So you'll be saying for every 1 rupee of current liability, we have 1 rupee of current asset. 20 to 30% of the paper is based on common sense. Remember, this is a paper of common sense, and you need to remember these formats. Now, this is the most important handout. You need to remember these formats, which include report, briefing paper, press release, emails, letters, notes, memo, PID, and presentation. The handout that I have given you right now, it includes all these formats for your revision purpose, so you can revise them when you are attempting the SBL. Make sure, so you need to identify whom you are communicating to, that is the board of directors or the stakeholders. If you are communicating to the overall stakeholder, you need to you need to ensure the secretiveness of the information. However, if you are communicating to board of directors, you need to ensure the availability of every small little information to the board of directors. So there are two different extremes. You can't disclose every information to the stakeholders community. You can disclose every information to the board of directors. So make sure that you focus on this. Practice exam in CB format only. You just need to practice the exam in CB formats. Just a minute, Ahmed. Past exam library, you have December 2022. These are the practice format. If for other questions, you can solve them on Microsoft Office, but a blank workspace will be a better option. Why students fail in SBL? Let's look at a recent attempt. As per the March-June 2020, overall the standard of the answer in June 2021 attempt was one of the poorest in SBL so far. It was 49%. It was 49%. What are the weakness identified by the examiner and what are the recommendation identified by the examiner? Answer not linked with the exhibits. merely copy pasting from exhibit. This is not by me, but by the examiner. I've just identified some of the pointers and I've written it in front of you. Poor technical knowledge. You have not yet revised all the technical parts. Exclusively short responses. Something which I have identified in your answers. Not reading the requirement carefully. Always take a pause of 1 second whenever you see the word and in your requirement. Because and means that there's a question before the word and means there's a question after the word and. Insufficient number of point, make sure you divide your answer by two in normal circumstances or the exceptional one. You know the rule. Weak in typing. This is the comment given by the examiner. But this means that you are such a weak student that you can't even write 12 to 15 words in one specific minute. And this was a very big paper of June 2020, and it was also not an easy one. Right. So if you solve this paper, you'll get to know, okay, now this is a an exam which is not easy. Plus, it was not easy to score marks in this exam. No practice on CB. I hope so. Everyone who is right now listening me on my online class, YouTube channel, or face to face, you all must have gone through at least one time on your CB platform, and you all must have attempted at least one question on CB. Make sure you time yourself well when you are practicing. Stop writing once 4 hours are completed. Then, recommendation preparation. Prepare on CB, do SBH mock exam, give your answer for review by SBHM. You can give it to me. Stay away from the books, technical articles, and revision kits. Now, don't pick up any book. Yes, you can revise the technical article that I have shared or I'll be sharing now. You will be revising, but you will not be going through any book. Now, if I would have been in your case, what I would have done is, for example, on Monday, I'll be solving one question by my own self. I'll be sending the answer to Sir Bilal so that he can correct it for me. And then I'll be checking my answer myself as well by evaluating my points and the pointers presented by the examiner or by the suggested answers given by me. And at night, when I'm going to my bed, what I'll do, I'll read the examiner comment of that answer. This is the bestest way to prepare yourself. Trust me. If you are going to prepare it in this way, you will end up in getting the bestest possible marks and even you can go for the position. So if you go by this, trust me, you will be in a very happy situation after coming out of your exam. Or you can go through the 5 days revision handout. Do not overstudy, just over practice. You have the SBL WhatsApp group. These are the list of important models. We have risk heat map, we have Tara, we have SFA, TOES, Pestle, Potter, BCG, Harmon, ENSOF, Culture Web, Menlo, Context of Change. These are the most important models that you're going to go through. I'll also share a PDF on these models. Topics: big data, internal audit, risk management, social and environmental factors, NEDs, board committee, unitary tier, two-tier board, funding strategy, budgets, value chain, management information system, project management, weakness and recommendation, integrated reporting, and e-businesses. Syllabus changes. Now, this is something which we have not yet done in our regular class, so I just need to give you a quick revision on this. Four line of defense approach is a new topic in risk management. We have not yet gone, but I'm just going through. It is just a topic of next 5 to 10 minutes. AI, robotics, machine learning, potential benefits, ethical implication, and risk. You have this topic. Just a minute. topics that are included in your actually they are not new now. It was included previously, but these are the topics that I would want you to go. I have also uploaded a video on this topic, on these topic, apart from the fact that I have not yet uploaded a video on the fold line of defense. Syllabus changes are minor, so nothing to panic about. These syllabus changes were not introduced in previous attempt, nor in the attempt before. They were introduced in September 2000 22, 21, 21 or 22, I guess. Topic detail, Tucker 5 question model. Topic deleted. So Tucker 5 question model has been deleted. So that is the reason you must be seeing this Tucker 5 question model in risk topic of previous book, but now this have been deleted. There are articles on blockchain, cryptocurrency, and cybersecurity and IPO. I will share that article with you. No new article relating to September 2021, just the copy pasting of those article. Risk register. Now, please give your 100% over here. If the question asks you to make a risk register, or the question can say that the risk register do not include these things, what you are going to do, you are going to either include them, or what you are going to do, you are going to make a new risk register as per the requirement of the question. Risk. So this is how the risk register is being made. Although the chances are very less that the examiner might go for such a risk register in the exam, but what you are going to do, you're going to write the risk, its impact, its likelihood. All these three, four things will be given. What is the probability? Probability may be high, it may be low. Mitigation action. Who are the owners who will mitigate this risk? And next review of the risk will be held upon. So this is a register, risk register that has already been given to you. You can write it in your handouts. I guess there is some printing error. So you can please, because I have written this risk register with my pencil. So that is the reason there is some printing error in your handout. So please write it.
So what is the relevance of owners over here?
Owner means who's going to take the ownership of the risk. That is the who's going to take the ownership of risk mitigation strategy. For example, Bilal is being made responsible for mitigating this risk, and we will review Bilal's strategy in let's suppose after 10 days. So let's just move forward towards four line of defense. Four line of defense means that you devise risk strategies in term with these four upcoming lines. Now, what are these four upcoming lines? First line of defense is for employee. Second line of defense is for defense managers. Third line of defense is for the internal audit. And fourth line of defense is in the form of external audit. Actually, line of defense means that there are four people who will contribute towards hedging of the risk. This is known as four line of defense. It's one of the most easiest thing. Four type of people who can contribute in hedging the risk. Number one, employee. Number two, risk manager. Number three, internal audits. And number four, external audit. How are they going to contribute? Proper policies and procedures. Employee, if hired through proper policies, and if they are making proper policies and procedures, they will be in a better position to contribute towards mitigation of the risk. Training of the employees, you can train the employees in order to better facilitate them relating to the risk. Regular performance evaluation, we can evaluate the performance of the employee. We can have the performance appraisals, and if we are having the performance appraisal, we'll be in a position to evaluate the risk mitigation strategies. Reward of punishment, Reward or punishment. This means that if an individual is doing something which is mitigating the risk, we'll be giving them reward, and if an individual who is doing something which goes against the company policy, we might go for the punishment strategies. Second line of defense relate to the defense managers. Supervise employees. How are we going to supervise these employees who are working within us? Review and monitor the performance. We will be reviewing the defense manager or the person who is being hired for the purpose of mitigating the risk. He will be monitoring the performance of the individuals. Risk and compliance department. There will be risk and compliance department in larger companies whose area of expertise is to identify the key risky strategies and to implement the strategies that can help us in mitigating the risk to an acceptable level. Then it says the third line of defense is the internal audit, objective review, and assessment of the risk manager. Internal audit is going to have an objective review and management. He will be having good knowledge of the organization in terms of internal control systems. He will be devising those systems. He'll be implementing those systems, and he'll be applying those systems, but may not be 100% independent. So yes, internal auditor is not 100% independent. So we have the last part of the defense line, and that is the external audit. External auditors or bodies who are involved in the risk management, more independent than the internal audit. They are fresh pair of eyes who are going to look at the accounts for the first time, having external audit and having external wider industry experiences, but they have less knowledge about the internal audit controls and system as well. So these are the areas of four line of defense. Just give a quick review on these areas and ask me questions if you have. Otherwise, I'm moving towards the last part. What is the point of owner? Okay. Just a minute. I'm sharing another document um, so that you can have a better insight. Just give me a few minutes. Okay. So I'm sharing a corrected answer that I have corrected, and I hope so. This is also going to give you a better insight as to what do I mean when it comes in terms of correction. See, this is how I correct the answers. I do not mark the answers on the basis of giving you marks, but I correct your answers like this. For example, need further improvement in knowing your roles or to cash those professional marks. It is confusing. See, I have written this comment. It is confusing. What are you trying to say here? Please do not conclude unless asked in the exam. Your goals for 6 mark requirement is done as 2 to 3 points. You are writing to the CEO himself. Please understand this role. Your tone will change over here once you get to know that you are writing to the CEO of the company. So these are some of the pointers. Although it was a well written answer, so I have not yet marked any discrepancy in this answer apart from the fact that the communication style was not good. But this is how I'm going to mark your answer if you will be sharing. Yes, I will be sharing this handout with you all as well. This is how I'm going to mark your answer if you are sharing the answers with me. And trust me, this is the answer of my previous attempt, and she was able to clear the exam as well. So, yes, because the answer seems to be very relevant, only the tone was an issue over here. So, please start forwarding me the answer. I'm sharing another topic. Okay. So, this is something which is important. Yes. Let's just conclude it as soon as possible. I just need 10 to 15 more minutes of yours and then we'll call it a day. I hope so. You all must have enjoyed this workshop and it will be fruitful for every one of you. Okay, so this is something which ACCA examiner is basically asking you to do. I'm sharing this with everyone so that you can read it on your phones or laptops as well. What is the examiner asking actually? Understanding the verb of the requirement. Know the verb. When answering an exam question, it is important to consider the question requirement carefully to make sure that you understand exactly what is being asked. All requirements are not the same. Understanding the question is part of the answer. Advise, actually meaning to offer guidance to or some relevant expertise to a recipient, allowing them to make a more informed decision. Key tips: counsel, inform, or notify. So if the question says to counsel, to inform or notify, you'll give an advice. Analyze. Break into separate part and discuss, examine, or interpret each part. Break the given information into separate parts and interpret, discuss, and examine each part. Key tip: give reasons for the current situation or what has happened. You're going to give reasons for the current situation. Apply. Actual meaning: to put into action pertinently or and relevantly. Properly apply the scenario to the case. Assess: to judge the worth and importance and evaluate to or estimate the nature and quality and ability, extent, or significance. Determine the strength, weakness, importance, significance, ability to contribute. Calculate: you don't need to go through the calculation. Comment: to remark or express an opinion. Your answer should include an explanation, illustration, or criticism. Compare: examine two or more things. You can be asked with a question of comparison. Clearly explain the resemblance or the differences. Conclude, meaning the result or outcome of an act or the process or event, final arrangement or settlement. End the answer well with a clear decision. Criticize: present the weakness, problem, evaluate, comparative. Word: do not explain the situation, instead analyze it. Criticism often involves analysis. Define: give the meaning, usually a meaning specific to the course of subject. Explain the exact meaning, because usually definitions are short. So you can be asked for 2 to 3 marks to define, let's suppose, two tire board, singular tire board, and so on. Describe: actual meaning, give a detailed account of the key features, list characteristics, qualities, and part. Make a picture with word identification is not sufficient. Discuss: I guess you will be able to go through the specific handout in which evaluate, determine the scenario in the light of argument for and against, again pros and cons. Mention: these are the words that might be mentioned in the case. evidence, case point, issue to support the evaluation, explanation, actual meanings, show logically the concept that has been developed. Then we have illustration word, we have interpretation word, we have list word. Obviously, all these words will not be tested on one singular exam, but you have some words to identify that what the examiner is basically asking you to perform. I have another handout now. I'm just quickly trying to go through as much as possible in last 15 minutes so that we can conclude this well. Okay, so what we are going to do, I'll also be sharing some of the voice notes on examiner's comment. So that is the reason why I'm saying that every one of you should be in some sort of group. I'll be sharing some of the voice notes. I have already made these voice notes for my previous attempt students. So I'll be sharing them all. You can also have access to them again. And one more thing that I would want you all to see. Okay, so specific comments will also be there. Okay, I'm reading something which is important or I cannot share on the screen because for that I'll have to. Sir, how do we share our answer with you? You can share me through WhatsApp. Yes. How to gain professional marks by me, obviously. Each requirement task in the paper will ask you to demonstrate a certain professional skills, but the examiner will also tell you how should you demonstrate it. The marks allocated to the demonstration of professional skill for each task consist of the following. Very important message. I'm sharing this message with you all. The demonstration of the skill itself, general professionalism, for example, task 1 to 3, 3 marks. Professional skill marks are available for demonstrating analysis skill in considering the benefit of. I guess if you will be reading this message, you'll have a more better insight. Most important thing is that there is another question with the name of NCCP. I would want you all to go through that question as well. There is a handout on the, I'm just going through my checklist so that I'm not missing out anything. Each and every resource will be shared right now after this class so that you can start revising as well. Right. So I guess that is enough for the day and we can call it a day today. And I hope so. It went fruitful for everyone. Now, please start solving the questions. We'll be meeting tomorrow at 3 p.m. according to Pakistan time, and we'll be solving one complete question for your reference. Right. Thank you so much, and I hope so. You all have enjoyed and get benefit from this. Take care.